Now let's continue on with our studies and let's talk about finding the mean, median, and mode of a data set. I've given you a data set up here with 10 numbers in it, and we just looked at the mean in the last video. The mean is also commonly known as the average. And to calculate the mean, you find the sum of the data values. And so in this case, the sum of the data values is equal to 117, and then you divide by the number of numbers that you've added up, which is 10 in this case. So our mean value is 11.7. And does that look like it's kind of in the middle of this data set? Yes, it does. Now let's skip the median for a second and go on to the mode. The mode is the data value that shows up the most in a data set. Well, in this case, we have 8 showing up twice, and we have 12 showing up twice. So the mode in this case, it's actually the modes we're looking at, is 8 and 12. Now, sometimes a data set is unimodal, having only one mode, or bimodal, as in this case. It can be multimodal, having a lot of values that show up the most, or if all data values show up the same number of times, then there'd be no mode at all. Now let's look at the median. The median requires that we have our data values listed in numerical order, which I've already done up above. The median is the middle value when they're listed in order. So I'm going to start chopping off from both ends here until I get to the middle. And what I find out is I've got 2 middle values here. Anytime you have an even number of data values, there will be 2 middle values, and you find the mean between those two. Well, halfway between 11 and 12 is 11.5, and that would be the median of our data set. If there had been an odd number of data values and you were chopping off from both ends, that middle value would be the median itself. Now, one thing to look at when you're comparing these different measures is the mean is highly sensitive to very large or very small numbers. For example, if I added the number 97 into this data set and added it into the total and then divided by 11, this mean would increase drastically. But if we stuck 97 in the data value and we started in the data set and we started chopping off from both ends, well, 97 will be one of the first data values chopped off, and the middle value would then be 12, and so this super high extreme value would not have a large effect on what the median is. So sometimes this is a better way to go when you have extreme values in your data set. All 3 of these measures technically are ways of describing the average or the center of a data set. Sometimes the mode isn't always in the middle. Sometimes the mean is not the best way to go when you have extreme values, as I've already described to you. So we don't use the word average because that's a general word. Instead, we use the word mean or mode or median to specifically designate which of these 3 measures we're looking at.